Hello, Skelevaderites, friends of Skelevader, and those of you who are just curious to see what this week's weirdo is going to be. I'm really excited about today. This is a good one, I think. I'm noticing in the chat, folks are trying to figure out what it is. I love this one from Speaking Moistly, Buzzsaw Modulock. That's a good one. So let's see who's in the chat. There's quite a few of you chatting with each other over here. So JMax77 says Buzzsaw Hordak, perhaps. And the hint is a little bit too tricky this week, I suppose. And then Speaking Moistly, hello everybody. And then Speaking Moistly right away, jumping into the joke guesses. Modulock, but that's too obvious. That's funny. And then Cobweb is here. Great to see you here. And then let's see. Eldor, Masterversal Toy Hunter. Great to see you here as usual. Nolan, awesome to see you. Great to see you here. JMax77, kind of looks similar to Roton, I suppose, but I feel like I'm getting colder. That's an interesting feeling that you're having. We shall see. And then let's see, we got Duchess of Darkness. Great to see you here. How's it going? All right, so I think I got through everybody. If I missed anybody, apologies, but it's lovely to see the chat hopping. I chose the circular saw blade as the hint for today for a variety of reasons. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Has anybody had any luck finding the new Adventures Skeletor out there? I know he is hitting targets right now. And I know that Point Dread and Talon Fighter, they're hitting stores right now too. Mossman is hitting the stores. Walmart's is where you can find the Mossman. And I think you can also find Point Dread, Talon Fighter at Target and Walmart, I think. I'm not sure, but I've heard a few things. Lots of good stuff coming back to the stores. It's kind of exciting. I feel like it's been stagnant for quite a while. And so it's real exciting to have that new stuff showing up right at a time where I am cutting my budget in a very serious way. So man, what are you gonna do? Let's see. So, oh, interesting, JMac. Some are posting Snake Mountain pics as well. That's really interesting. So I was one of the folks when I ordered Snake Mountain through Amazon. I was one of the folks that was able to get in there and order it through Amazon during that window, that very short window when it was available. I'm still very nervous about whether or not it will actually show up, but it still says the end of August. So that's really very cool that people are seeing Snake Mountain out there too. I would love to see, just to see it, a Snake Mountain on the shelf, right? That would be so cool. Let's see. And oh, Cobweb, no, and no. Well, if anybody out there finds Mossman at Walmart, make sure you pick up another one and then contact me. I just posted a video yesterday saying that I'm willing to trade this Mossman painting. It's bigger than I usually do. I think it turned out pretty great. This Mossman painting can be yours, folks. If you find a Mossman out there in the wild, of course, get it for yourself first, right? But if you happen to have the means and you see an extra one there, pick up another one. I will do a straight trade. This painting for that Mossman, and we'll be good. It'll be fantastic. Hopefully you live, like I said in the video, hopefully you live in the United States. I think they're only showing up in the United States, but who knows about Canada maybe, but hopefully we can keep the shipping reasonable for both of us. But it's an exciting proposition. I hope that one of you that watches this regularly and comes on the Toy Frenzy, and hope it's one of you. First, I hope it is. Hope one of you finds that Moss Man. Anyways, that Moss Man painting could be yours. Let's see. All right, so people are chatting with each other. It's fantastic. Oop, I got to take that off of there. It's been on there for a while. So in the 80s, you know, today's choice is Masters of the Universe, okay? But I want to talk a little bit about the term ripper or ripsaw or buzzsaw and circular saw, and for some reason in the mid 80s, that became very popular. So the early 80s, we saw the Ripper, which was the skate deck, you know, the Powell Peralta skate deck classic, right? It was sort of like the general release, and it was nicknamed the Ripper. It may even been formally called the Ripper. I had a huge crush on this skate deck around 83, 84, 85. I don't remember what year it was, but I've always loved it. Never got one of these. And then later on, a little bit later on, this one came out from the Schmidt sticks. It's called the Rip Saw. And I love the shape of this thing. I love that it was dangerous looking. I love the design. And it's probably, I probably reacted to this because it's after I had already had in my possession this particular choice, this particular toy that I've chosen to talk about today. But did any of you have this skateboard in the 80s, or this skateboard in the 80s? And then, of course, in Masters of the Universe, there was the you know, Road Ripper, right? So Ripper, Ripsaw, and this dangerous shape of the circular saw became was somehow in my consciousness as something that looked really, really cool. And it's not Cobweb. But oh, speaking moistly, I did not have those boards. Had a Team Toxic one. That's cool. That's great. I love that. That's cool. Oh, that's very nice, J-Mac. That Mossman painting has so much character. I think it turned out pretty good. It's like he's leaping out at you, and I'm highly critical of my stuff, so I feel pretty good about it. Yeah, I'm excited to see who grabs it. All right. So today's, I'm just going to give a little bit of a hint here. Today's choice. All right, do you know that sound? Who can guess that sound? There's another one. I got two here. There's that one and that one. All right. So Ray Black, welcome to it. Good to see you here. So today's weekly weirdo is J-Mac for the win. That's right. Today's weekly weirdo is a vehicle. I haven't done a vehicle yet. I did a video celebrating the arrival of the battle ram when I got it, but it didn't count as a weekly weirdo. Hey, Mr. Hootie Dean, great to see you. And yeah, that's right. You recognize, everyone recognizes that sound, right? So this is the first vehicle. I have 3 favorite vehicles from the Masters of the Universe line. No, 4. And they're all vying for #1. Battle Ram is usually in the #1 spot. But I also love the Dragon Walker and just love it. I also love the Land Shark. Absolutely love that. But this one has always been one of my favorites. And I actually owned one of these as a kid. And so I have a very deep, like sort of sentimental level of respect for this particular vehicle. And that is, yes, the ROTON. This villain's vehicle with a striking black and red color scheme, and these green stickers. you know, with sort of scales on there and that fantastic action feature sound. I absolutely love the Roton. And look, it looks like a circular saw blade. So there must have been a thing in the 80s with the circular saw. You know, I'm sure it showed up in a few horror films. I'm not an expert in that arena, aside from the ones that I loved. But I'm sure there's some B movies out there that featured the circular saw. And then of course this design showed up in, you know, skateboard design and other things. Love it. This is the vintage one. Now I had the vintage one as a young man, as I mentioned, as a kid. I had the vintage one, but some of you who watch the channel, you know that lovingly and from a very caring place, my mom donated all my toys to her students back when I was starting to sort of leave my interest in toys behind for punk rock and girls and stuff, not knowing that these things would have such a significance in my later life. So she did give it away, but this also, I have a lot of sentimental value for this particular toy too, because I got it at the first and only PowerCon that I went to. I met Matthew Deutsch, the co-host of Legends of Grayskull podcast there, and it was the last one in Anaheim, PowerCon, and so I got this for $10, and it has all the stickers intact, and it's in beautiful shape. $10 for that vintage toy. And then not too long after, we got the Origins Roton, which, by the way, is showing up as a sale item at Walmart. I think I saw this for like $9.99 or something like that the other day at a Walmart. So the price is pretty good for this. But here are the two Rotons next to one another. And I love that this one's bigger. I love that it's glossy. And I will always love this vintage one. So J-Mac, you guessed it for the Roton. Let's see. Let's check up with the chat. El Tenda, great to see you. Fantastic to see you. And MotuOriginsCork, better late than ever. Hey, great to see you here. Oh, and Mr. Houdidine thought that was the sound of the spin wheel for in the game of life. That's pretty much the similar sound, yeah. Primate76, good to see you here. Fantastic. So great to see you all here and chatting with each other. El Tenda mentioning Roton, Fright Flight, Mantisaur, and the Big Spider. Yeah, for sure. Those are all great vehicles too. In fact, my wife and I were just watching the Dune Part 1 that just came out a couple of years ago. And they have the Fright Flyer. I think it's called Fright Flyer or Fright Flight. That vehicle, it's came a little bit later in the line when I was no longer interested in getting those toys. But there it is in that Dune movie, that particular vehicle, looking exactly like the toy, pretty much, just sort of, you know, darker, you know, black or gray colors. So yeah, those are all fantastic too. So yeah, folks, the Roton. This is one of my favorites. I'm going to get around to some of the other vehicles in later episodes. I'm excited at the potential of us knowing that Origins will continue, even if the vintage style toy Origins, or inspired by the vintage toy Origins, will be on Mattel Creations exclusives, or maybe just through Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth or something like that, no longer in the stores. It'll be great to see that they keep coming out. Hopefully we'll get a Dragon Walker in Origins, Battle Ram in Origins, those things. I would love to see them honor those vehicles in Origins. I think that this Roton, this Origins Roton, is, I don't say this very often, is superior to the vintage version. I love the vintage version, but look at the way that black shines. The size is correct. It's just a little bit bigger, so you can actually fit your figures in here. I put my vintage figures in this one. They fit quite well, but you can also even fit like Masterverse figures in here, which is quite nice. I've always, even as a kid, I remember sort of stuffing my vintage figures into this one. So I love this newer Origins Roton. Let's see, MotuOriginsCork, Dragon Walker is a must for me. Yeah, absolutely. When I get around to talking about the Dragon Walker, that'll be a good one, a good show, because it's a fantastic vehicle. The design is amazing. The action feature is kind of hilarious, and I've talked about it in the Toy Frenzy with the guys. But you know, in the cartoon, the Dragon Walker moves exactly the same as the toy, very slow. And yes, absolutely, speaking moistly, impractical, but awesome. And I loved seeing the Roton and the land shark show up in Revelation. So anyways, folks, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me today for this week's Weekly Weirdo. I want to thank those of you who are patrons of the channel. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon, the link is right down below. Even though it doesn't say it's an option for the $3 a month choice as a Patreon, you do still get a character painting of your choice once you become a patron of the Skelevader channel. So you get a character painting similar to this one. It's a little bit smaller, but you get to choose the character, and it'll be made especially for you. I want to thank the patrons of this channel, Julia Honer, Don Roberts, MotuOriginsCork, Brick Something, Thanos Copter, and John from Figuratively Speaking. Thank you all so much for your contributions. Really helps. And Mr. Hootie Dean, how do you feel about Filmation Origins going to retail? I am all for it. They announced that the vintage style Origins figures would be going to Mattel Creations. I'm okay with that as long as they make all those figures available to those who want to buy them. I'm perfectly fine with that. What made me sad about that announcement was that, you know, we would no longer see Masters of the Universe on the shelves at retail. Even though it's like even though finding them has been notoriously difficult over the last few years, it'll be great to see. It'll be great for there to continue to be Masters of the Universe toys on shelves. That's all. Happy to see them. I think that they're very cool. I'm always interested in the villains. I have the Filmation style figures that that came out at the end of Classics, the Club Grayskull figures that are Filmation style. I have the villains. I'd be very tempted to, you know, once I see those on the shelves, and to get the 5.5-inch scale Filmation villains. So I'm excited to see them on the shelves. Mike Fee, fantastic to see you here. Great to see you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for being here. And JMax77 will be searching for Mossman until I hear otherwise. Yes, for sure. The search continues, folks. If you find an extra Mossman out there, this painting can be yours. We'll just do an even exchange. If you're popping in late, it's this painting that I'm talking about. You can watch the video of me making it on this channel. I launched it yesterday. But yeah, so, and Eldor is saying, sadly, about 10 countries have been blocked from buying off Mattel Creations, including New Zealand. Now that's too bad. I think that's really awful. You know, we live in an era where, well, actually, it's not just the era. It's the toy collecting community, and especially the community that surrounds Toy Frenzy and the Skelevader channel. You're all really fantastic. So we will find a way, Eldor. We will find a way. So, folks, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for trying to guess what the weekly weirdo was. Every week I'm going to post an anomalous hint at what the episode will be featuring. So keep an eye out for those thumbnails, and I'll go ahead and we'll see who gets close. So all right, so folks, have a great one. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and stay cool and be safe.